They say a man's home is his castle, but in this exclusive gated community, the rules were absolute and the rulers were merciless. Arthur lived a quiet life of luxury. He believed his hard work had bought him peace and a view that was worth every penny. But in the world of homeowners associations, even a masterpiece can be seen as a violation if the grass grows an inch too high. Deborah, the HOA president, didn't see a home. She saw a list of regulations that needed to be enforced with bureaucratic zeal. It started with a $300 fine, a petty sum for a man of Arthur's means, but a significant declaration of war. Arthur was away on business, unaware that the letters were piling up, each one more threatening than the last. The HOA moved fast, using every legal loophole to escalate a minor landscaping issue into a full-scale property seizure. When Arthur returned, the peace he had cultivated was gone, replaced by the cold reality of a neighborhood turned hostile. The HOA had declared his home a nuisance, a bulldozer sat idling, a mechanical beast ready to tear down his dream. Deborah watched from the sidelines, a smirk of triumph on her face as she authorized the final destruction. The sound of shattering glass echoed across the lake. $5 million of architecture, reduced to rubble in mere hours. Arthur didn't scream. He didn't beg. He simply watched the dust settle on the ruins of his home. They thought they had won. They thought they could break a man by taking his walls. They were wrong. Arthur began a different kind of construction. Not of steel, but of leverage and legal precedent. He traced the history of the land back to its roots, finding the hidden threads that tied the entire community together. Months later, Arthur returned to the neighborhood, dressed for a battle that would be fought with words, not wrecking balls. He stopped at the HOA Community Center, the heart of the organization that had tried to erase him. Years ago, Arthur had purchased several shell companies. He hadn't just bought a house, he had bought the ground beneath them. He now controlled 51% of the land in the entire gated community. He wasn't just a resident anymore. Arthur walked into the HOA office and handed Deborah a single, elegantly typed document. The lease for the HOA headquarters was terminated effective immediately. The board was officially homeless. An emergency meeting was called. The residents gathered in confusion, unaware that the rules of their world had just changed. Arthur took the podium. He didn't look like a victim. He looked like the man who owned everything. He explained that, as the primary landowner, he was dissolving the board and abolishing the restrictive covenants. The $300 fine that started it all was the last thing to go, shredded in front of those who issued it. Construction crews arrived the next morning, but this time they weren't there to destroy. A new mansion began to rise from the ashes, larger, grander, and completely beyond the reach of any petty regulations. The neighbors cheered. They were finally free from the fines and the spying, while Deborah packed her boxes in silence. Arthur stood on his new deck, the mahogany warm under his feet, looking out over a lake that finally felt like home. The lawn was perfectly manicured, not because a rule demanded it, but because Arthur chose it to be so. He looked into the distance and smiled. Revenge, it turned out, was best served with a clear title deed. In the end, justice wasn't just about winning. It was about owning the ground you stand on.